We're live. It's the Blathering Live. Hey, I'm Ken Napzok. Let's get that camera a little closer. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the show. It's a Monday. Where are you? Where are your kids at? Where are your parents at? We got regulars checking in here. I love my regulars. Detective McCarcel checking in. Says, I love being able to catch more live streams lately. That's right. I'm here to deliver more live streams to you. Now, live and in living color. Vermont Mike's here. Gold later standing by was gold. The B-Wing Squadron. No, mostly the Y-Wings. What was the B-Wing Squadron? Green? Gray? I actually scored a point over Whitwer with that one, and I've missed it. I lost it. Jared the Dark Jedi's here. Blather up, indeed. Steve is here. Happy Monday. I think that means we'll get 16 seconds of sports today. I know people are going to want to talk about that big NBA trade. I want to hear about it because I hear it's a problem. We'll be taking some calls. We're live, pal. This is Ranger Donald. I'm Ken Napzok. I'm happy to be hanging out with all of you. Calls tonight, mostly a call-heavy show. Open forums. At the end of the night, I'll answer any super blathers. Those are the questions that you, quite frankly, pay for. And they're greatly appreciated because they keep my pants on, literally. I could lose my shirt and pants. I'm so poor. I'm so stupid. But if you have a super blather and want to have a specific question for me to answer in that form, I'll answer it at the end of the show. So many sports. Bedor's here. Big news from our pal Bedor in her world. I was trying to keep up, Bedor. Engagement, babies on the way. A lot going on over there. A lot going on, and we're happy for it. Pants off. Dance off. Again, producer Steve says, is that an OnlyFans tease? If I knew I could make money on OnlyFans right now, I wouldn't be searching for work like I am. I wouldn't be searching for work. I'd be doing that. Doing it with pride. 898 Forum says, that trade is controversial to say the least. I'm dying to know why. I can't wait. I'm going to take calls. We are going to do sports talk radio. Heavy tonight because I want to know. Vermont Mike here talking about one of the things I was going to talk about tonight. Actually, I watched the Royal Rumble. I had it on Peacock. He hasn't seen a pay-per-view since WrestleMania 4. Oh, the big tournament to crown a new champ. Looking at some of the news tonight. You know what? I was out and about today. I'll tell you what I did. I got some exercise today. I have been neglecting my exercisual duties, and I took about an hour today to go for a walk outside. I have the full gym in the garage and all that kind of stuff, but it was one of those days where it's like, and I did this last night too for about 30 minutes. It's like, I need to get out. The only time I've been out of my house is to deliver food recently. I haven't had a lot of fun. Haven't been on any shows at Flappers. I haven't done it. And I just was like, I need to go see the sun today. And I walked last night a little bit at night, and so I could see the moon. It felt good. So out there, if you have the ability to get out, I'm not talking about exercising. If you can get outside, get in your backyard. I do that sometimes. Just stand in the backyard, put the hands on the hip. I have clothes on. Put the hands on the hip and just, air. It felt good. 898 Forum says, it's like A-Rod to the Yankees trade if he were likable. Okay. Laserbolt says, out is good. Of course, he's the proprietor of Forest Meats, the YouTube channel we want them all to start. So we'll take some calls. Chris King is going to be one of our first calls. He's in early today. If you want to be a caller on the show, you can become a channel member or a Patreon supporter at patreon.com/Ken Napzok. One of the things going on Patreon right now is my full set of Hot Burbank Nights. I'd really love for you to check it out. Tried some new stuff there, and really proud of the evening and the show we put on there. So if you'd like to, swing on over there. Hey, tomorrow night, big interview with Andy from Genders, Queers, and Buccaneers. A very honest and raw hour-long conversation, actually hour plus. I'm titled it The Evangelical Trauma Factory, which will make more sense when Andy shares their story on the episode you're going to hear tomorrow. So I hope you check that out. And also check out the interview with Dan Larson we put out last week. Chris King is going to call in a bit. He says, but I walk to work most days. Getting that fresh air to begin and end the day is essential for me. It really is. Maybe I can get a job now where I can walk to work. Some things on my mind today as we start the show. Again, no real set. I got to go to about 5 o'clock today. So if you want to get into the show, call on in. I did watch the Royal Rumble last night. Lifelong wrestling fan, as you know, been in and out of the business in a small capacity, now out, but back in from the 2000s to 2014 was in it and out of it and in it and out of it. Love the business, love all aspects of the business. It's a dirty business. It ain't a pretty business. And I say that because of some of the things I'm going to say here. I really did enjoy the Royal Rumble. It is kind of weird in these times, though. I was discussing this with a friend off air. It's hard to be morally pure these days, and I think it's okay. I think we're all adults enough to live with that fact. Case in point, there are a lot of times comedy clubs that I either go to or have performed at or would like to perform at book outright monsters. These are people with credible sexual assault claims against them. These are people who have spouted off horrible political points of view. These are people that are just kind of disgusting. I have a choice to either go to those comedy clubs or not, but I also have a choice to, see what I can do with my career, and it puts you in a tough spot. I have some friends who do not step foot in comedy clubs because of what happens, and I agree with that stance. I understand that stance, I will say, but I still choose to go to those clubs. If I'm on a show with those people, then I have a choice to maybe not be on the show with those people. Though sometimes you're not given a choice. They might just show up. So it's a weird world to claim and aim and strive for moral purity. It's impossible. The WWE is a challenge for me. The WWE is a challenge for me because they do take money from Saudi Arabia. They have a very bad history behind the scenes of some stuff, things that I'm very familiar, things that all of you are familiar with. Vincent Kennedy McMahon is gone, I think, for good, but the legacy of that, who hid what, there's all that. And then there's the people in the business, and I believe everyone has the right to their own opinion. I have this with football and baseball. Love these sports. The amount of MAGA heads in baseball is complicated for me at times, but I still love the sport, and I choose to find my joy. I find joy in watching WWE programming. I don't find joy in Hulk Hogan being on it. I don't find joy in The Undertaker being on it. I used to love The Undertaker. I could take some political opinions being different than mine. I cannot take a transphobe getting that big of a platform, which is what Mark Calloway is. So it puts me in a weird spot. But I watched the Rumble, and I had a lot of fun with the Rumble. Logan Paul showed up, and I think he's good at that. I think he's good. If he was a better person, I'd probably be rooting for him as a villain because he's good at it. They found something that he's really good at, other than just influencing the youth. But it's hard to prop him up with his influence over the youth and the young men and being transphobic, being homophobic, giving Trump a platform. That's hard for me. It's hard for me. But we are all in these dark times where we got to hold on to these little corners of joy. And one of the joys for me is watching the Royal Rumble for the women, the women's event, which is now, I think, in its 8th year. Someone could correct me on that. I saw numbers where some of them had been in, some of the women had been in are entering their 8th Royal Rumble. And I choose to celebrate that. And look, not every woman in that Royal Rumble is of moral, pure fiber either. I know that. But we are a long way away in the WWE from the era in which women wrestlers were pushed aside, were candy. We're given 30 seconds on TV, and I love that I can sit down and watch 2 Rumble events in one. I think it's great. I think it's absolutely great. It was a lot of fun. Vermont Mike saying Alexa Bliss returning on the night. Big fan of Alexa Bliss. Her return was great. The winners, I didn't have a dog in the fight because I'm not actively interested in watching WWE on a week-to-week basis, but love that there. It did get me thinking about other things going on. The Grammys come into play. I didn't watch the Grammys. By the way, as big as I am into music, and even though I'm in radio now, and I was full-time in radio in the 90s, I never really paid attention to the Grammys. I blame Pat Boone, winning records over the Beatles, Jethro Tull over Metallica, all those things. Awards for art is a weird thing, but I don't think they're bad things. I think they can make careers. I'm completely fine with all that. So I didn't watch the Grammys last night, maybe some of the highlights. I watched more of the Fire Aid benefit show. I watched that live. I watched the Nirvana a reunion of sorts, which I thought was great. I watched some performances that were maybe not as great, but it was good to see the names on there. Looking at you, Rod Stewart. I thought even Katy Perry did good. Gaga, I don't know. It was fun to watch, but I didn't watch the Grammys. But I am a big Lady Gaga fan, as you all know. And I couldn't be more proud to be a fan of hers today, winning a Best Pop Duo Vocal Award with Bruno Mars for a song that, is great, good, fine. Not my favorite of hers, doesn't need to be, but they won. And I really love that she used this moment and her platform to do what she's always done, which is speak out for the trans community, the queer community, and her people. She has always done that from day one. And she spoke out. Chappell Roan, who I'm a big fan of, couldn't be more proud to be a fan of Chappell Roan. He talked about record companies needing to treat their talent better. It's horrendous. It's always been horrendous. The power is always one way. Even when bands get super successful, you hear those stories. Oh, yeah, we had a big hit. Never saw a cent. Like, there's that stuff. And she spoke out for the queer community as well, and specifically the trans community. I think it's really important now more than ever. And it's an interesting thing when years ago, growing up, decades ago, I used to be one of those people like, oh, here comes Tim Robbins again. Always saying something political. Now, I'll say this. I do think there's a time and a place for each. We here on this show go from this serious conversation, standing up for trans rights, to in 10 minutes, we'll probably be talking about which spaghetti pasta is best on your face when you spill it. I think that's life. I think we're all adults enough to carry the 360-degree point of view of the world. Let's celebrate. Let's find pinpricks of joy. Let's enjoy the Royal Rumble, and which I did. And let's also point out the fact that Logan Paul is a transphobic piece of shit who should not be propped up by that company. I think you can have both feelings. Years ago, I used to be one of those people that would say, "Oh, here we go again. Some cause, some art actor who's talking about a cause." And I used to carry that into my program, and I used to carry that into my shows, and no more, and no more. Lady Gaga has always used her voice. Lady Gaga will use her voice. And in a time where our government's great, we'll do headline roulette. I don't even know enough about the tariff situation right now. I know Canada and Mexico came out swinging, but now everything's been delayed a month or put off a month while they negotiate. Trump's people are going to take that as a win. Trump's people are going to say, look at that, show a little bite and they'll back down. Because fentanyl, 43 pounds of fentanyl came in through the Canadian border last year. And a lot of Canadians are like, you know what? We'd like to strengthen our borders so your guns will stop coming up here and your drugs will stop coming up here. So yeah. But this is going to be spun out. You can't talk to your parents about this because they'll be happy that Trump's tough words have gotten results. That's not the truth. Look at the Colombian immigration situation. They've been taking the migrants for years. They said now we refuse to do it until there's humane treatment. And that ended up being what happened. But it's a big win for Trump. All that stuff. We're in that time. I can't even get into it right now, but we're in a time where policies are being put into place for the very existence of transgender friends of ours, gay, lesbian, bisexual, pansexual, asexual friends of ours are being wiped from existence. They're being wiped from existence. Saw an interesting tidbit. I love internet tidbits. The term anti-Semitism actually comes from those who we now describe as anti-Semites. They wanted to, we're not against Jews, we're against the ideology, but their beliefs destroyed, in fact, killed Jewish people. These policies, there's only two genders. Great. You're taking away the rights of humans, and you're attempting to wipe them from this planet. Why? Why? There cannot be an answer that works. And there is no answer that works. So last night, the Grammys, love it, silliness, awards for art, meaningless. I'm really proud to be a Lady Gaga fan today. Really proud to be a Chappell Roan fan today, and to any other artist that spoke out and continues to speak out. Let us do some stuff here. Let's do some promotion. Yeah, and Vermont Mike, Vermont Mike, this is about Logan Paul. Yeah, that was enough, right? Right, Vermont Mike? That was a rough. That was enough. Ben says, I got my Gaga shirt on today. Absolutely. That was enough. I was trying to explain this to a friend today. Logan Paul is different. Like Triple H, Paul Levesque, goes down to Mar-a-Lago. His mother-in-law's in Trump's team. That's a problem. But I wouldn't call Triple H an active problem. He doesn't go on podcasts and say these things. I think he generally means well. We talked about how he had spoken to a gay performer and said, look, none of that matters here. And even the performer said, I think he meant that in a good way. It's the I don't see color people that refuse to see people for who they are, their stories and how they got there and why they are here and why who they are has value versus just something else. But I still think Logan Paul is an active problem. He has an active influence over so many young men who are swimming and drowning in toxic masculinity. And this guy, just that suicide Japan, that whole debacle was enough. It should have been wiped from the earth from here. By God. Okay. This is great, too. Rich T says this regarding the tariff. Someone posted on Facebook talking about Canada reinforcing the border to avoid the tariff. It said threatening other countries now. What I want America to be. This is something to be proud of. I agree with that, too. Resetting here. We got some calls. But first, let me also highlight some things. I'm trying to get this guy on the show. These are troubling times. So you know what you should do? You should meditate. I don't know how to do it. My buddy Scott runs a great podcast, Blue Star Meditation. If you are watching on your desktop and have your phone handy, scan those QR codes on your, if you use Apple or Spotify, but it's available anywhere. Search Blue Star Meditation if you don't use those, and I understand if you don't. So maybe check that out. We can all relax. All right, do you guys want some calls? By the way, like this video. I know, I keep saying that. Like this video. You know why you should like this video? Tell you why I should like this video. It helps. And two, every time I log in now to get ready to do a show, there's already some dislikes. And Vermont Mike, who would know a little bit about this too. Isn't drugs coming to the U.S. an American issue, an American customs issue? Just saying. I would agree with that too. Calls. David Mackay says calls. On the episode tomorrow, on Force Center's episode tomorrow, David, I name check you. David. All right. Make sure calls are set. If you want to call into the show, become a Patreon supporter, patreon.com/Ken Napzok, or become a channel member here. Thank you to all of you, especially those who have gifted subs. We crossed 100 channel memberships here on YouTube. That's great. I don't expect that to change because they're gift memberships. They will expire, so I hope to maybe recruit some of those people in to join in the show here. But right now, Chris is calling in to the show. Love when Chris calls in. I've said before, one of the people I can't wait to have a lobby beer with. Chris, how are you doing today?
Doing pretty well, Ken, for a Monday. So how about yourself?
You know, for a Monday, I'm slowing. A lot going on in all of our lives, and today I did my Force Center. I did a little exercising. I ate some Girl Scout cookies, and tonight I'm going to relax. After this show, I'm going to relax tonight. Chris, am I allowed? Is that okay?
Yes. Yeah, I think I can give you permission for that. Definitely. Yeah.
God bless it.
And what Girl Scout cookies are you going to be diving into? Because I've got some myself. So.
Well, Chris, this was a big debate on the last episode of Anytime because I bought them right before the show. I got 2 boxes of Thin Mints and then the s'mores. The s'mores are gone.
Oh, okay.
And all but one sleeve of the Thin Mints are left. One sleeve left. Did I say that wrong? Well, I got one sleeve of Thin Mints left.
Nice. I might be digging into some of the peanut butter patties a little bit later. So
the tag-alongs, right?
I think so. East Coast, they're called peanut butter patties. I don't know. So maybe it's a name difference thing here.
We did some, sorry, this is just me and Chris talking about the previous show, everybody. We did some detective work. Addie confirmed It is the bakery. So it's often regional, but it's the bakery that has the names going. Got
it. Cool. Well, I did want to. I was inspired by your Monday morning show because I start my week. I have my cup of coffee, getting ready for the work day, and I watch it. And
nice.
And
Thank you.
you're no, no, yeah, of course, no problem. I love it. It's a great way to start off my week, sincerely. And
Love it.
the you're talking about Titanic and T2 and kind of like the messages in the movies and how people don't may not even realize that they were there. And it got me thinking about some recent movies I saw that I think are very like fitting for the times. And I know you're not always going to the theater. I know you're not the biggest movie guy, but I wanted to throw out some recs to your way, and then
Okay.
to some of the listeners, and because two of them I think are very appropriate because they deal with female rage, which I think
Love it.
could yes, I was gonna say, which I think is very well earned after these past. Yeah.
There's time. I can't wait to hear your recommendations. There's times in the house where Grace will get so mad and she'll start yelling about men in society. And you know what? I just know that my job is to go, you're absolutely right, because she's absolutely right. So,
yeah.
right.
And then the third one is kind of more for you. And I'm not sure if you've seen it. It's a little bit, I find it weird to say it's older. It's almost 10 years old now, but
That's weird.
yeah, I know. It's 2016. I was like, oh, it's not that old of a movie. And I was like, oh shit, or oh shoot, it's like, but yeah, but so the first one I just saw it this past weekend. It's called Companion. So
oh yeah, I've been hearing about this.
Yeah, so Sophie Thatcher from Book of Boba Fett fame as well, and from Heretic, if people saw that, which is a really good one. She's excellent. Jack Quaid. I don't want to say anything because I feel like the trailers already give away too much, but definitely if you're feeling a certain way about I'll just say white guys bemoaning the fact that they have it so hard, and
right.
And kind of taking advantage of women's bodies and stripping them away of their autonomy. It has a lot to say about that in really fun and thrilling ways.
Love it. Okay, on board. Companion.
Another one which is on Max, you can watch it, is it came out back in the fall. It's called Your Monster, and it's got Melissa Barrera in it, and it's written or I don't know if she wrote it, but it's directed by Caroline Lindy is her name, so female directed as well. And it's kind of a weird comedy horror thriller, not even thriller, comedy horror musical mix. So I don't know, Ken, you might have to stay away because it's a music. But
don't you start anything. Addie's back on my side. She's back to being friends with me. Okay.
She's actually an aspiring Broadway actress in the movie, and then she goes back to her childhood home and rediscovers the monster that was living under her bed as a kid, but he's kind of aged up with her, and it makes it seem like it's going to be a romance, but it might not be as simple as that. And I'll keep it at that. Yeah.
Okay. I like that.
And then so those are my two kind of feminine rage ones, which I highly recommend. More recent choices. And then I'm hoping a lot of people in the chat have seen this other one, but this one I think is specifically for you as well, Ken, because it's got a great soundtrack, and it deals with it gives kind of an FU to I think religious indoctrination in a way. And
love
it. Sing Street, which came out in 2016.
Oh yeah.
Have you seen it before?
Oh, I love Sing Street. Cool. I have the soundtrack on my my Apple computer phone machine, and often walk to the songs. So
love it. It's my favorite movie of all time, and I actually whatever, probably an overshare, but whatever. I was in therapy over the weekend, and I was talking to my therapist. Somehow came up, and he watched it, and he actually said, he's like, thanks so much for bringing that up to me. I just had a great time watching that movie. So I'm like. Sharing it with everybody, sharing it with my students at school. I'm trying to get everybody on the Sing Street train because it's on Netflix right now. So
that's great. No, we loved it back in the day. We were really behind that film over at Screen Junkies. So me and JT love that film. Great soundtrack. I know the director's done a lot of music-based movies. I can't remember the other ones. I don't think I've seen them, but I hear they're good too. So check that out. Companion, your monster, and I love it. And yeah, regarding what you were talking about this morning, thanks for listening to the episode this morning. Yeah, I was just talking, ruminating as I often do, going to where different spots, but just giving James Cameron for being perhaps more political than we think. The Avatar is an obvious one, but in the other ones, and David McKay actually left a great comment. I agreed that Politics are inherent to the story of Titanic, the real life incident, steerage and wealth and all those kind of things that are on display in the movie. To include it is great. To not include it, both are political choices. And so to James Cameron, I tip my cap for including it there. So Chris, thanks for those recommendations, buddy.
No, absolutely, Ken, and thanks for doing what you're doing. And I'll be watching the rest of the night, and I hope everybody has a great night and goes enjoy some movies later, maybe some Girl Scout cookies as well.
Girl Scout movies and cookies. There it is. Chris King with some movie recommendations, everybody. Thanks, Chris.
Yeah, thanks, Ken.
Chris, check it in. Love that. Yeah, I don't know what Grace was watching. What's the one you guys out there will know? It's got oh my God, what's her name from Andor? Who's that? Adriana? Yeah. Why am I'm drawing a blank on. I don't have to compete in trivia questions anymore. Trivia contest. I don't remember. Bix Kayleen from Andor. She's in it. It's got Channing Tatum and Adria Arjona. Thank you, David. What movie is this? And Grace is watching. Naomi Aki's in it. It's got those Star Wars people. I just kept walking in and out of the room, and everyone's like, you'll see something like, what is going on? And Grace is like, yeah, this movie's about how horrible you men are. So you shut up. So I was like, I'm gonna back out. We are live here. We got a call from Jared the Dark Jedi coming. We are going to be taking more calls. If you want to be a caller, all you have to do is become a channel member or a Patreon supporter. Shout out to my friend, the Figure Report. Hey, everybody, follow Michael over the Figure Report. It's been too long, Michael. We've got to text sweet little nothings to each other and share some explicit and illicit pictures of garlic bread. Check out Michael. He's got a great channel you can follow for great figure reviews and information. Good to have you here, buddy. Blink Twice, is that the name of it? Is that the name of the movie? Okay. Look, it's Zoe Kravitz's directorial debut. Oh, that's why Channing Cha-Cha's in it. Okay. All right. Or Don't Blink. What is it? Blink Twice or Don't Blink Twice? Okay. And Adria Arjona is, I'm saying that name like a white man. I don't care. Amazing and wonderful. And love her in Andor. Can't wait for more Bix Kayleen stuff there. Will was wrong. Blink Twice. Yeah, Will McLean. Yeah, you were. I don't do movie trivia. All right, let's take a call. Shout out to everyone who listens on the audio version of this show, by the way. I know I've just been really putting a ton of content on the Napzok network feed and putting all these live shows. I put Anytime on there, put the Monday morning show. I know that might be a lot. I appreciate you all checking in. Michael says I'm going to have some garlic sweats tonight thinking about those rolls. Oh, boy, that's good. On the show right now, calling in is our buddy Jared. He's a Dark Jedi, which I think is a good thing, but he's also a swell chap. Jared, how are you doing today?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I, just in the name of fairness, I didn't exactly pick the Dark Jedi thing. I just kind of stuck the first podcast network I was a part of, and I was like, well, I guess this is my name now.
It picked me. Yeah, okay.
That, and I've spent 26 years of my life watching people stumble over Bachman stubs, so it's a nice little segue. No, how are you doing, bud?
I'm okay. I'm hanging in there, man. I like all of us, it's hard. We all keep asking each other that question, Jared, right? Hey, how are you? And I think there's a tendency to want to answer honestly, which is not good. But then also perspective rushes into your brain. And also I think there's some value to be going, I'm going to be okay. We're good. We're good.
Yeah. I love it. I'm going to be okay answer. I wanted to call it. I want to poke my head in. You were talking about the Royal Rumble and the Grammys, and I've described myself for the last year and a half or so as like a Padawan wrestling fan. Just finally got in, super over for Cody Rhodes. All of my friends make fun of me for it. I have way too much merchandise with that ugly neck tattoo on it, but
American Nightmare.
I told a mutual friend of ours, Alden Diaz, and
Heard him.
The DM of Ionized Bastards, Michael McCoy, I was like, I think I've officially reached like wrestling fan knighthood because I was so angry at the end of the Royal Rumble that I was like, I don't want to watch Raw on Monday.
Yes.
I was in such a foul mood coming out of it, and it's everything to do with the Logan Paul of it. Because like I keep having this moment where I'm like, he's such a good villain.
He is.
And like he transcends heel. He's a villain, and he is like really good in ring. Like he's flipping around like he's in a prequel era lightsaber duel all the time, and it's very impressive. But he is just such a real world piece of shit that I'm like, like none of it's truly none of it feels like kayfabe. And I was just so bitter about Logan Paul eliminating CM Punk. Like that sent me into kind of like a frenzy. Because again, I'm new around these parts. So it's not like I have like a right to clutch my pearls quite yet.
Right.
But I was like, but I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, the epic poem style of storytelling in wrestling of how beautiful a moment that is to have Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns engaged in their usual like mutually assured destruction.
Right.
Leaving them wide open for Punk's like conniving, underhanded nonsense to eliminate them simultaneously.
Great
and that
spot.
like that like there's that moment is so rich in storytelling that it being followed up by Logan Paul eliminating Punk. I was so angry, especially because I think that moment is even better if it's Cena who's right fucking there.
Yeah.
2 feet away, to have Cena, who also has history with Punk, who also, where he like if Punk is like terminally cynical, if Punk is defined by this like selfish cynicism that makes him this that makes him this iconoclastic figure, that his direct foil is just how saccharine and Pollyanna Cena is as a character. And for as much shit and as much of a run Punk has been on, and how like fun he's been to watch, to have Punk get chin checked by Cena, I was like, that would have been so much better. But no, we're gonna give the MAGA dipshit his moment, and that I was fuming. Like I couldn't even be happy about Jey Uso winning. I was just so full of piss and vinegar, which is good. I was happy for Jey.
Yeah. No. Look, I'm laughing because it's one way. This is exactly what they want, and all that kind of stuff. And you're in, baby. You're in. I just think we are so well aware of reality now, right? Wrestling, it cannot go back. And I'm not talking just about kayfabe. I'm talking about when you had an angle with Lana and Miro, Rusev back in the day, ruined because they got engaged in real life and they posted about it on social media, and it ruined an angle going on. That was a great example to me of we can never go back to what it was. And so that's fun, and I think they've done a good job turning the story. But the Logan Paul of it all, it was hard to not think that was some kind of dig against Punk, who's rather progressive, right?
Yeah.
I took it as that, and it was hard. That's why I tried to give Pat McAfee credit. I think Pat McAfee is really talented as broadcaster. Doesn't mean I always like him. No. He's really talented, and he gets it. He also is a good broadcaster. It's a very popular show. I get it. He also has a giant responsibility to be a better human, and has stepped on his meat so many times, and is one of those like, what, just entertainment guys. It's hard for me to have him around. I think he should be aware of his responsibility. He should never have Aaron Rodgers on the air again. I don't know if that's ever going to happen, but whatever. It's hard to watch Logan Paul. It's hard to watch him. He is horrendous. And if you have a problem with what's going on in the White House, you should have a problem with Logan Paul, because he has an influence over millions of young men. Yeah. And so that's part of the problem, where I can separate it out. We didn't know this. We didn't know Hulk Hogan was a piece of shit growing up. We didn't know it. 90% of wrestling back in the day, pieces of shit. Trust me. Right? But we didn't know it. We didn't have to know a lot of the baseball, Aubrey Huff and all of those pieces of shit. Now we do. So it's hard. And I think that's a little bit of what you're feeling. The story stuff you're talking about, and I'll let you respond to anything I've said so far, but the story stuff is fun. I agree with you. Maybe Cena was the better choice. That I say, hey, just trust. It's part of the fun. Everyone, you weren't watching when Daniel Bryan lost in 24 seconds and everyone was ready to burn down the building and it made him a bigger star. That stuff can maybe work out. But when you're talking about,
for
I'm
sure,
feeling.
yeah. I mean, and that was for me, like, part of the animus is like the frustration for me is like Logan Paul shouldn't be here in the first place for all of the reasons you just said. All of the reasons you just said, the reasons you said earlier in the show with like the Japanese suicide force should have been the end of his career. And it wasn't. So like, I'm like, he shouldn't have been here in the first place. And they missed out on a great moment of that, like again, like really subtle for those who have been paying attention, who have done like the back catalog research moment that frustrated me. But I agree with everything you said. Other quick question for you, because you were talking about the Grammys. Kendrick Lamar is my favorite artist of all time, beyond genre. And I watched him prove that when you stand on business and you hold succubus frauds accountable, it pays dividends. But Kendrick infamously, back in 2013 at the Grammys, was snubbed for Best Rap Album. Good Kid, Mad City lost out to Macklemore's The Heist. What is, in your opinion, the biggest? We're going into award season snub in general, and like Grammys as a bonus. This is like the Grammys just happened. Like, what is the biggest, like, beating your head against the wall this person was robbed, if you've ever had one?
I none in terms of Grammys, none that I was personally involved in. I mentioned it earlier, but I think Jethro Tull beating Metallica for like heavy metal album of the year or whatever year that was for their was the Black Album. Maybe people in chat will say, but that was to me an example of this, that it has no value to me, right? It's good. It is justification. I love that Gaga won again with Bruno Mars. I love that Chaperone won. Hell, I even love that Sabrina Carpenter won a Best Pop Vocal thing. I don't have any investment in her career, but love it because it makes some
people mad. On the hip hop front, I was super excited about Doechii winning Best Rap Album. You know, Alden and I were talking about it. I was like, if anybody was going to beat Tyler the Creator's Chromacopia, it should have been Doechii, and I was happy that if anyone was going to beat what I wanted to win, it should have been her. So yeah. So
that for me, that and the Beatles, I think eventually they get some wins, but there was a while where you could point out random pop artist, insert name, had more Grammys than the Beatles, which doesn't change the Beatles. As a Beatles fan, I don't need that to cement their legacy, but it's just that Pat Boone would win. Like it's an institution thing. So when some of it changes and some of the stuff you're talking about celebrating, I like that. But that's that. As far as awards shows, man, in terms of like other things, I was really, I know people, and Chris mentioned it in his call earlier, where I don't watch a lot of movies. I was infamously the first to be let go from Collider because they looked at me and they're like, well, you don't even watch movies, so what are you doing here? And I kind of understood. But I was in the 90s. I saw everything in
you're
theaters.
Carrying the Star Wars show on your fucking back. But
well, it didn't work out for me.
Just saying. Just
Yeah. Someone else always remains more popular. But I was invested in the 90s. I watched every movie that came out, and I was the Oscar score sheet guy, and I still saw both in theaters, loved both in theaters. Shakespeare Love over Saving Private Ryan was the untangling of that award show for me, where it was truly, as David Lynch tried to point out constantly, about money and influence and not about the art. And I'm not saying Saving Private Ryan is the greatest of all time, but it just comparing those two movies and being in the theater for both those movies. Being in the theater, I worked in the movie theater when Saving Private Ryan was out, and seeing World War II veterans sitting in the movie theater after the movie ended and the credits rolled, sitting in silence for a very long time, to which we were told, let them sit there. The next movie will start when they're done. To watch now a monster who shall not be named campaign to get that and collude and coerce and bully to get that thing even nominated, let alone win. I still think it's the biggest.
That's a solid pick. That was before my time of being able to watch. I remember I vividly remember, and many of my friends make fun of me for the fact that as much as I vehemently dislike Zack Snyder, um, I do go to bat for Batman v Superman, and I do go to bat for the 2016 Suicide Squad.
Mm.
And I remember the year Suicide Squad beat Star Trek Beyond for
Yes.
makeup
Makeup,
and
yes.
hairdressing. And I just remember, I remember it was, I just remember the knife fight that was happening in like my little corner of like Pittsburgh cosplayer Instagram
Yeah.
going ape shit.
That's so funny.
Like it was so funny watching everybody like showing these side by sides. I was like, yeah, but like Killer Croc looked great.
Hey, I liked it too. I get your feeling. But yeah, it's fine. Look, it's art awards for arts is a weird thing, but I think it's also a good thing, and it makes careers. And I'm happy for the people. Like I said, I'm really happy. I'm a huge Chappell Roan fan. Like, absolutely adore her work and what she does and what she says, and this means something. It means something to me as a fan. So, and it means something, I think, to the communities that she represents and defends and fights for too. So I think it's a good thing. I think it's a good thing. We'll have to do at the Oscars. As we get close to the Oscars, we'll have to check in with you and see who's going to upset you if they win.
Oh, I got to catch up on all of the Best Picture nominees. I know my girlfriend and I are toying around with bringing back Nerd Academy Movie Club, mainly to do Oscar stuff. And I was like, yeah, we should do that. And she's like, we're going to end up having to watch Emilia Perez, aren't we? And I was like, yeah.
Like all the Green Book and Crash reviews.
I will say that comment you just brought up, 100%. I think part of why I would ride so hard for Suicide
for the dark
is that Batman in that movie was perfect, and I had so many mixed opinions, net positive at the time for Batman v Superman, about Bruce Wayne in that movie, and in Suicide Squad, them immediately framing Harley and Joker as already having killed Robin, and Bruce still risking his life to rescue Harley. I was like, okay, this might actually be a good depiction of Batman after all. Holy shit, this might actually be good. It's okay that he killed like 8 people in the last movie. It's fine. But those like 3 seconds of screen time from Batman and Suicide Squad.
And that's why it won. And that's why it won, Jack.
Yeah.
And that's why it won.
Hey, it had Will Smith in a cowboy hat, and that puts me in my Wild Wild West bag. So
that's really. We just need a big spider. That's all we need. That's all we need. Jared, thanks for the call. I appreciate you checking in as always. And celebrate. Are you going to dance to some Kendrick tonight? Can you dance to Kendrick? I'm not familiar. I feel like an old man.
Listen, I will keep this quick. I've been a Kendrick fan for as long as he has been in the mainstream, since I was a teenager, like 13 years old, listening to his first album. And since about a couple years after that, I have had nothing but disdain for Aubrey Drake Graham. I just absolutely hate everything he stands for, and he's become more. He's a poser. He is a culture vulture, and he's a weirdo, as all of the songs from The Beef made clear. And there had been a lot of like subtle back and forths between Drake and Kendrick over the years, and a lot of like Kendrick kind of like subtly being like, I will lay you the fuck out if you make me. You don't want this. And then eventually it happened for real, and it was the best part of May the 4th weekend this past year that had nothing to do with Star Wars, was listening to Kendrick Lamar called Drake a pedophile, and it become a #1 Billboard hit. The best thing that ever happened in hip hop.
You're primed to be a lifelong wrestling fan. What you're talking about is a great wrestling angle there. As I've always said, life is pro wrestling.
It's one of the best parts of Not Like Us is where he says "sweet chin music" and "I won't pass the aux" is an actual bar. So you're on the money already.
Wrestling is everywhere, people. Jared, thanks for the call, my friend.
Of course.
Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry, Jared. I cut you. I pressed
I was
the
just
button.
saying thank
Say
you.
goodbye.
You're good.
Say goodbye.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a good night.
There you go. Thanks for everyone checking in. If you're hanging out here, this is the Blathering. We go live Mondays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. Except, hey, not this Thursday. I have to be out of my house. Bug spray. It's our quarterly bug spray. I'm sure you're really excited to hear that information, but I can't be in the house. So I'm not going to broadcast Thursday night. So, God, I hope producer Steve's available. We're going to go Friday night at 5. And I'm going to try. I'm trying to bring two of the biggest football fans I know onto the show to talk a little football odds, make our picks, maybe get some prop bets. So hopefully Friday night can work for all of you. And then we'll be back Saturday as well for this week. And then stay tuned. We'll see where my life and work schedule takes me. I'm trying to hold on to my life as much as I can. But the blathering goes on. Thank you all for making the growth so good. Let's do another call. Top of the hour, we got producer Steve with 16 seconds of sports. And then 8984M has requested that I take his call after the sports segment because he's really up in arms about this NBA stuff that I know nothing about other than I know what happened. So we'll see. Called an account of fumigation. Thank you, Kyle. But let's go to Detective McCarcel. You know him as Detective McCarcel. Michael McCarcel is his real name. We call that shoot versus work names in wrestling. Michael, you're here. How are you doing, buddy?
And I am okay. I'm currently doing homework, so.
You're doing the right thing. You're doing the right. Just think long term. Take deep breaths. Go outside. Have some Girl Scout cookies.
I don't know how much differential equations is the right thing, but you know what? Fair.
Okay. Wow. You said something I didn't even understand. You're studying something I couldn't even grasp. What's on your mind tonight, buddy?
You know, you were talking about it earlier. Tell me about your exercise routine. Let's talk about that. I love lifting weights. I love exercise in general. Talk to me about it.
All right. Yeah. So when I'm on and I'm consistent, I can get in pretty good shape, even for an old man. I am not currently on. I've not been consistent since the beginning of 2024. I was in the best shape of my last 5 years at the end of 2023, and I'll explain why in a second. Then I hurt my back. I was bedridden for about a week in 2024. Started off my year. I was like, well, I hope 2025 is going to be better. I've been depressed and not been able to get out of bed when I'm not trying to find work and live my life. So when I do, I don't have like why I suffer and have never been in the best shape of my life for years, or haven't been in great shape for years. I do love lifting weights. I probably get too routine and I don't shock the muscles enough. Switch. I get too locked into. I do this. I do this. Do that. But I have a full home gym. So weights are my meditation. And that's how I love to use them. So when I'm out there lifting weights, music's on, maybe a TV show's on, or I'm practicing stand-up, and so I sometimes wish I was a little higher with my intensity. That would probably be more impactful, but it is truly a calming thing for me. Then I'm a big walker. I've always been a walker. I love going for long walks, and sometimes, some days, like the last couple of days, it's just been walks. I can't run. I can't do cardio. And then there's debates of what cardio actually does and what you burn and what you don't, and fat versus calories and all that stuff. So that's that. But I'll say this. When I got into, I'm going to try to bring this up here. When I got into the best shape of my life, and there's been some times where I've been in pretty good shape, in the early days of Collider. If you see old pictures of Collider, I'm at my thinnest as an adult. Was looking really good. I was really confident. And you know what? It worked, because Grace didn't pay attention to me until I made a joke. So maybe the working out wasn't needed. But what I discovered, now I'm going to bring out, hopefully YouTube doesn't, get weird about it. My Instagram algorithm brought up a fitness influencer by the name of Becky. She built by Becky. All right. And she's a very attractive 38-year-old mother of two from Canada. And I went like, I did what a lot of people, I went, oh, okay, what's that? And then I remember looking at her, the actual thing she was doing, not her. I looked at what she was doing. I went, oh, that's very doable for me. Hold on here. So I followed her and I started, she puts up 4 of those things a day. And Grace came out one time and was a little like, "What are you looking at?" I was like, "Time out. I'm not leaving you for her. I'm getting in shape for you." And I hate watching the muscle men influencers. I really do. There's some good. I've saved some of their posts. I've saved some. There's some good, like, oh, that's a good routine. I can do that one. But they're all broy douchebags, and I don't want that. Yeah. And I could give two shits about it. And I'm supporting a female creator here who's trying to do some stuff here. I don't buy any. She sells some things. I don't buy them. But it's great. And when I did that 5 days a week, followed her stuff, I got into great shape in 2023. Great shape. So come for the thirst, stay for the health, Michael.
That's fair. That's fair. Look, I get it, especially with the male influencers. If I see one more video pop up on my Instagram about some guy trying to tell me how to do lateral raises,
yes,
for the 100,000th time, yes, bend your elbows slightly. I get it. I've been doing it for a decade.
Exactly.
I would be in so much trouble if I followed Miss Becky.
Yeah, well, I'm just telling you, it's a good sale point. I recommend, and Cameron Stewart Chet says, Ken, I think you make an incredibly fit 38-year-old mother of two. and it's look, and some of the stuff she does, man, it's hard, man, right? It's hard. And the other thing too is I stopped doing, like, my weight numbers are up. I don't lift heavy. As you get older, that's a little harder. And I have one of my friends from pro wrestling was like, look, 10 pounds is work. You don't need to curl 100 pounds. It's not you. It's what you need. So I like going lower, more reps, rest my joints. I'm older, Michael. I'm older. And when my back went out last year, and it's always, I have a unhealed fracture in my spine from wrestling and everything. Like, I can't do deadlifts. I can't sometimes put on my jeans. Like, I got to be careful. And so Built by Becky. That's my official endorsement from me to all of you.
Sometimes I get worried that we might be a little too much the same person because so I also have a chronic back pain issues. It happened because I used to work in a warehouse at Toys R Us and was unloading trucks very, very sloppily and just throwing big boxes and stuff. And over a year and a half or so of doing that, it just fucked up my lower back at about 18, 19. And yeah, there are just every couple months, every 4 to 6 months or so, I can feel it kind of building over a few days. And then I can't even tie my shoes for 3 days because I just can't even put them on. And also this spooky goth life partner. So
exactly. Having a witch as a partner helps too. Saul, hey, big Saul in chat, saying you can get in incredible shape with low weight and never get hung up on those numbers. And I got to tell you, that is a great piece of advice for anyone out there. Resistance bands, body weight, whatever. There's a lot of ways to do it, and a lot of ways to do it if you can and want to do it. And Saul's absolutely correct. And
I do agree with that to a point, but there is a degree of stagnation if you stay at low weights that I have long since had to just deal with, because that was my goal starting out, was to just do low weights and stuff. And then over time, there were just months and months. I'm like, I'm not seeing any kind of progress. So I had to start slowly doing more weights. And like, I don't need to bench press for,
no, what are you doing at 4 or 5? Yeah.
But if I can max out at 225, I don't feel too bad. But like, it's not like I'm trying to make that my working weight. I just can go for one of that. Like it's not something I'm directly pushing to, because I'm not a power lifter. I don't need to be.
Right.
My sister, on the other hand, she does CrossFit. She's a CrossFit instructor. That girl is strong. She is my little sister, and oh boy, she does not need her big brother to protect her.
Grace is a Pilates witch queen and is the strongest in her class, and could probably deadlift me or just lift me up with one of her legs. So I'm with you on that there too. And yeah, a lot of people follow up with fitness tips. Fitness tips tonight. I love this. This is where the show goes. I love what Saul said. Throw your scale out. Keep your mirror. I can't remember last time I've been on a scale.
I only get on the scale because we have one at the gym I work at, and just every now and then some of my coworkers will step on it, and I'll just be like, I want to know how much heavier I am than you.
Yeah, no. Every once in a while, we have one in the house, and if it's down, and Grace doesn't use one often either. Like I'll be like, all right, let me see, and then I look at the number, and then I cry for 2 days, and so I don't do it again. And Rouge Stars 98 saying the most important thing when working on is being consistent. I absolutely think that's what it is. That's what it is.
I exercise in some capacity most days. If I'm not lifting weights, I'm probably rock climbing. So
we'll see see now I can't fight now. We're different people. Can't do the rock climbing.
No.
I'm afraid. Aren't you afraid of falling, Michael?
Here's the thing: if you're attached to a rope, you're not going to hit the ground.
So you're not a free. You're not a free
climber.
climber.
I do some of what is called bouldering, and that is the free climbing stuff. But it's still only like 15 feet off the ground, and the pads you land on are about 1.5 feet thick. So
okay, that's
don't get me wrong. That's where I've gotten all of my rock climbing related injuries.
But
mostly finger tendons and shoulders. I haven't actually like hurt my back or neck while rock climbing. So
okay. Well, we're praying for you. We're praying to a God I don't sure we believe in anymore, that you'll be safe. Detective McCarcel, everyone, Michael McCarcel. Thank you for calling, buddy. I'm glad we're hearing you tonight here. Get back to school. All right. Catching up with chat. We're going to have Steve with sports here. Saul just recently posted just 20 minutes ago, posted a shirtless photo of himself on Twitter. If you want to know his credentials, maybe he's recruiting. Maybe Built by Saul is what we all should be doing here right now. Thank you all for the fitness things. I love it. I just recently went through about a week where didn't do any kind of exercise. Absolutely kind of in my cups, absolutely depressed, absolutely, in my car, delivering food and just, why bother? And then just simply going for a walk yesterday and now going for a walk today. Not only do I feel good, and it's not like I suddenly got into shape. It's just, your body's moving and you're feeling it. So if you can, if you want, you have the means. That's why we suggest body movement here. Cry for 2 days, Eric. 2 days. I have some. I don't want to blame anybody, but I definitely was raised with some body issues. Who wasn't? Who wasn't? That's something I don't talk about often. But I hate myself when it comes to how I look, and that came from being a real skinny kid. Who also had a trick pot belly. Like as a kid, I had like my mom at parties would be like pool parties, would be like do the stomach trick, and I'd stick my stomach out, and you look like a grandpa. But I was a skinny kid, as a lot of people are. You're a little scrawny little kid growing up, and I used to get made fun of that. And then like family used to make fun of me for that. And then when I get to LA and I'm poor. And I'm eating bad, and I don't have a gym membership, and I've got like one dumbbell at home to work out with, and my only exercise is walking with my day job at the time, walking through a mall. I started putting on weight, and then I started getting comments from family about that, and it's an issue. It's something that I've had to work through. So there you go. Eric, when we meet, Eric, it's going to be the best hug ever recorded in history. So there we go. All right. It is the top of the hour. We are here for just a little bit more, but I do got to get to sports tonight. I don't even know what's going to happen. I don't know. So let's do this here. Let's do this since I might bring other calls. We'll do this audio today, Steve. Producer Steve's here. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing so good, Ken. Thank you so much for having me. Appreciate it as always.
I appreciate you. Can you be here Friday?
I can be here Friday. I just checked with the boss. We're all good.
Okay. Look. If you can't, it's okay.
No, we're good. We can make it work. I can't
be in the studio. Okay, I'm not. I don't want to get in trouble.
No. We're not, that's why we check with the boss. That's why we check on
with
these
the boss.
Things.
Okay.
I have a 1-year-old, so my social life ends at about 8 p.m. every night anyway. So
I figured that. Okay, I figured that. All right, I'm trying. I don't want to promise it, but I'm trying to get Mark and Josh to come by, do a little football, Super Bowl predictions and all that stuff. So we'll see. We'll have a good show. All right. So here we go. This is a segment we started recently called 16 Seconds of Sports. Steve's going to read off the sports, and we're going to dive into what's going on. I might need help. Let's do it, Steve.
Okay, here we go. 16 Seconds of Sports starts right now. Massive trade in the NBA. Luka Doncic goes to the Lakers, and Anthony Davis goes to Dallas, basketball can. It's an orange ball. It goes in a peach basket. And the NFL, God continues to hate Cleveland as Myles Garrett has requested a trade from the Browns. He didn't say where. He just said, trade me. Somehow the New Orleans Saints are involved in the Catholic priest sex scandal. Damn it. And the MLB has fired an umpire for sharing legal betting account information.
Oh,
I tried so hard. Damn.
Oh, that's like, it's okay. 22 seconds of sports. It's the title that matters. No one's going to time you. I think Rich T might time you. Okay. I didn't hear the MLB. What's this? An MLB umpire was fired?
He was fired for sharing. It was legal betting account information. So apparently he had an account he shared with a buddy. I have the headline right here. After a lengthy appeals process, the MLB on Monday fired umpire Pat Hoberg, I hope I'm pronouncing his last name right, for sharing, quote unquote, legal sports betting accounts with a friend who bet on baseball for intentionally deleting messages key to the investigation into his conduct.
Wow. Okay. Denied betting on baseball. I'm reading this to.
Yep. He denies personally betting, but it's just like you can't have. It's just too close. This is the MLB saying, "Hey, this is way too close. We can't have an umpire you can't even sign up for FanDuel. This is like way too much."
You can't even look. I won't say this person's name. I know someone who was like kind of tangentially involved with Major League Baseball and was trying to get broadcasting jobs. And I said something about fantasy baseball, and they were like, "Can't do it. I cannot be involved with it." It's specifically been told, like fantasy baseball. This was 5-10 years ago. So now with FanDuel and everything, and the people that bring up the stuff with the Rose case, I'm still on the maybe just put Rose on the ballot, but maybe he doesn't get in kind of guy. But when you look on those commercials right now, every commercial, the seventh inning brought to you by FanDuel, get $500. Like we're in a weird spot.
We are in a weird spot. Don't get me started on the Hall of Fame stuff. My opinion on that, just blanket statement, is we can all read, just put the context in the story, put the people in the Hall of Fame that deserve to be in the Hall of Fame and put in the context. We can read the context. It's okay to educate ourselves, but still recognize the person who hit the most hits in the game. Like it's just, okay. Yeah. Anyway,
I think I'm returning after that doc. I'm returning more to that side of it than I was before.
Just give us the information instead of pretending it didn't happen. You can
that's what's
it all you need to. You know that's
Barry Bonds, greatest home runner and hitter of all time, injected everything he could find into his head. Like just put it on the thing.
But hey, you know those late '90s home run races were a lot of fun to watch. So
they were. Okay, so there's that. I'm going to look more into that story. I saw the NFL thing today. For those that are not sure, I think Detective McCarcel was a Saints fan. There's a child abuse, Catholic Church child abuse situation going on, an investigation. Shocker. And there are emails from people in the New Orleans Saints, particularly the owner, who's a big Catholic, doing what they can to prop up the embattered bishop or Pope Jr. or whatever it is. It doesn't look good.
It does not look good. Quick bullet points from the story here. So basically the idea is that the Saints owner, super Catholic, he's very close with the city of New Orleans Archbishop, who is also in some hot water for things. I don't know the exact details on his thing, but some of the issues they're dealing with are that these executives were involved in church's damage control. The team spokesman briefed his boss on a 2018 call with the city's top prosecutor hours before the church released a list of clergymen accused of abuse. Mm-hmm. Why are the Saints anywhere near this? It's also ironic that they're the Saints. That's
yeah, you've Rich T in chat's a coincidence. The Saints are in on this. Look, and this is not a direct football story. It's not something I'm going to hold against the players on the field, but yeah, it just speaks to people in power, religious organizations entrenched in those places of power, and I'm curious to see how that turns out.
I think this story is important in the context of how we are currently viewing sports ownership and our current landscape. There's a lot of talk about how prominent sports owners are as figures on their teams and in the media. Think of Jerry Jones, for example. Think of all the different scandals you've seen owners have in recent times. And when you think about they're playing with billions of dollars, not millions of dollars. These are billionaires playing with millionaires. And holding people accountable in those positions is important, and making sure that the fact that, yes, it's their football team, but it's a $1 billion organization in the city who has their hands involved in these things. And those are the kinds of things people should be informed about, because a lot of these times these teams are taking tax dollars to build their stadiums.
Steve, you and I were in the same spot. I was just going to get to that. These are billionaires who could build 19 stadiums, and they put it on the city to do it, which is always a suspect and a problem. But yeah, they're part of the community. So when part of the community, a pillar of the community, a franchise as a pillar of the community, is upholding someone who's hurting the community, it's definitely an issue. Yeah, I agree with that. There you go. Steve, you get a well said from Chris King. All right, what was the other thing? All right, are we doing the trade? Two more.
Well, we have Myles Garrett, and then we have the trade.
All right, so Myles Garrett, great player, crossed 100 sacks, I believe, against the Dolphins. I remember watching that Dolphin game at the end of the season, and he was committed to Cleveland, but you can't be committed to Cleveland at this point. You just can't. That's silly. You got to get out of there. And I wish the Dolphins had enough in the tank to trade for him. I don't think they do. He's a player we could use and need, but I don't think that's going to happen. And I don't think they want Tariq. So I like this. I'm always by the way, I'm rooting for Cleveland as a team and occasionally a city. What do you feel about this, Steve? Is it this doesn't seem like pouting. This seems like enough.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think it is enough. I think Myles Garrett is seeing the fact that he's only getting a year older and is way too good to be stuck on a team where Jameis Winston is praying to be delivered from pick sixes. Yes. I think the fact that you just threw out into the world Tyreek Hill for Myles Garrett and some sweeteners on either side, honest to God, Ken, that's not the worst idea in the world.
Let's do it.
Especially if you're Miami. And if you're Cleveland, you're like, hey, we need someone to throw the ball to. There's some meat on that bone. So I hope this goes into the ether somewhere. Anyway, no, I think that's just another, like, LeBron left Cleveland twice, Ken.
Twice.
Like, this city just isn't allowed to be happy. So there's a lesson to be learned there.
The city in which the lake caught on fire. Yeah, my old roommate from that area, he moved back to that area. That's a whole other mega story. But he's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame for as being a DJ, and that city can't buy a break. But did you ever watch about 10, 15 years ago an early viral YouTube sensation, the song about Cleveland?
I don't think so.
You got to look it up. It is this great song about Cleveland, and it's someone from Cleveland talking shit about Cleveland. But then it ends with, and where's Lauren Romo? Where's Laserbolt? It ends with, at least we're not Detroit. And it's the funniest thing ever. And I love it. And I stand by it. All right. Final thing. The trade.
Poor Browns. All right. Here we go. And the final thing, honestly, one of the biggest trades in NBA history, one of the biggest trades in major American sports history, just from a pure potential and impact standpoint. The Dallas Mavericks traded Doncic to the Lakers for Anthony Davis. You never get, especially in the NBA, star for star, and the NFL usually you sometimes we see star for semi-star. In the NBA, though, these are always for a bazillion picks and then a ham sandwich. The fact that they went for Anthony Davis for Luka Doncic and then some players and ham sandwiches is still, that never happens in the NBA. This is huge. I mean, I wish I had a dog in this fight. Who has who's up in arms and who has the right to be more up in arms in this trade in terms of fans? This is really interesting, and I'm really interested to hear what some of Brady's thoughts are because I believe he's a Laker guy. But
I'm going to bring Brady on with us because I'm going to need you to help translate.
Absolutely. No, there is a long-term and short-term element to this. Long-term, the Lakers win big time. Luka Doncic is 25 years old, and he's arguably one of the greatest offensive players in the history of the NBA.
At 25?
25.
Wait, hold on.
He hasn't even won anything. No,
hold on. You're saying that in a league with when John Stockton was around?
Stats. We're talking about potential, his efficiency. Brady's going to tell you. He's going to go on here and tell you this kid's amazing, and he's 25. The problem is the Mavericks traded him because he's fat. I'm just going to say it. They traded him because they think he's not conditioning well. They think long term he's going to be. They're going. The Mavs are trying to win the finals in the next 2 to 3 to 4 years.
Okay.
Doncic, while he can do that for you, is also going to be amazing for the next 10 years. So they're gambling.
Okay.
So the Lakers, while they're not going to win the finals this year, probably they're set up amazingly in the post-LeBron era, having Doncic as their key guy.
That's their guy. Where was Bronny traded? Is Bronny still a Laker?
Bronny's going to keep riding the bench until LeBron decides he wants to go somewhere else. Sorry, Bronny. I love Bron, but
okay. So let's bring in let's bring in 898 for him, Brady, who I believe in chat says he's a Mavs fan. Okay. Brady, are you there?
Hey, wait, I'm not a Mavs fan. I am a Lakers fan. I was meant to say that Mavs fans are up in arms about this.
Oh,
Right.
gotcha.
Agreed.
Okay.
Brady,
Okay.
how right was I on the stuff I said? Am I close?
Oh, you're on the point. I think for the Mavs angle, it's that Luka was the franchise player. Like he's like the quarterback and the potential to be the greatest quarterback. I guess it'd be like
Mm-hmm. You get it.
Be like
Get
the Chiefs trading Patrick Mahomes before they
Before he
won.
won. Before
Yeah.
he won. That's
Before he
important to
won.
think there. Luka hasn't won yet. He's been to the
Okay.
finals. You know, this is like Joe
Okay.
Burrow getting traded for
Right.
TJ Watt is a good
Okay.
comment I saw on Blue Sky. Someone was like, this is like Burrow getting traded for TJ Watt.
Yeah, and the baseball equivalent would be like wait, why am I blanking on his name?
Trout?
Trout. I'm guessing in
Early.
a more recent.
Early Trout.
But young.
Really
This is a
Trout?
young player.
Yeah, getting
Yeah.
traded for like the best pitcher because AD is known for his defense.
Right. Okay.
Or it'd be like
So
Juan Soto being traded for I don't know who's the best pitcher right now.
So Mavs, Garrett Cole. Well, yeah. Well, they're not on the same team no more. But so I get the superstar for superstar. You Brady aren't old enough to remember when Fred McGriff and Roberto Alomar and Tony Fernandez and that whole big trade. Joe Carter, biggest superstar for superstar trade I remember in my lifetime. But this is Brady are you're as a Laker fan, you're happy, right?
Yeah, Luka is the next line of Lakers superstars.
You're going to be buying his jersey.
Oh yeah, as long as he doesn't do anything crazy. Yeah, this the show Winning Time, right?
Yeah,
Where
love it.
the entire arc of it is just about like the Lakers. They're trying to get their start. They're trying to win, right? This is like the start of this lineage. But yeah, that's what the Lakers are all about. They had Kareem. They went all in on Kareem, and then they got
Magic,
and then they went to Kobe and Shaq, and then
Yep.
Kobe and Powell, and like LeBron.
Yep.
And LeBron is possibly one of the greatest of all time. This is an insane lineage
Okay.
of all NBA players, and now you're getting Luka. This is
So you feel you got the upper hand without a doubt. You're talking about you're putting this guy, this kid, this little pudgy little ball player up there with names that will be spoken of for eternity.
yeah.
And you believe it. You as a fan, you believe it.
Let me put it in these terms.
Okay.
He's 25. He has
Okay.
5 first-team All-NBAs, which at this age, only 5 other people, like the Tim Duncans and whatnot, only 5 other people have gotten.
Okay.
He's averaged 30 points, 5 rebounds, and more than 5 assists.
You've been researching this guy for a day now, haven't you? You've been like,
I know this guy. I've been.
ooh.
This guy, he's the only other player. There's only 2 players who have averaged that in the playoffs. Who's the other player? Michael freaking Jordan.
Okay, I heard of him. I have a couple of his cards.
Yeah.
Chris King says somebody send Luka built by Becky's Instagram page.
Yeah, and I'm saying this.
Okay.
Anthony Davis is my favorite player of the last.
Okay, but
years.
he's gone. He's dead to you.
I'm gonna miss him so bad. But it's Luka freaking Doncic.
So Steve, sorry, I hit puberty there. Steve, what as a you're not a Dallas fan.
Oh God, no.
You're a Philadelphia 76ers fan. As a Dallas fan, why did they do this? Why would you be upset? Is there any silver lining?
There is silver lining, and I want to really hit home how important this trade is, Ken, because there really isn't an NFL comp for this. I was going to tell you, like, this is like the Dolphins getting Bijan Robinson, or this is like the Dolphins getting. Just think of literally the best player in the last 3 years in the NFL who's.
Yeah, I could think of it. When we traded for Tariq Hill, and that's what everyone told me.
He's better than that, though, because Doncic is going to be better than Tariq Hill for a longer period of time.
It seems as if
10 years of greatness.
It seems like the Mahomes thing before he won is
just
the
hasn't gotten
best
the rings yet. Right.
kind of example. Got it.
Exactly.
Okay.
But for
Okay.
Dallas, the reason why they did this because they think. Here's the thing: defensively, Luka sucks. He's a defensive liability. Okay, that's for starters. They have a really good guard in Kyrie Irving, so but they do a little bit different things. And getting Anthony Davis for Dallas fills a massive hole. Dallas already went to the finals last year, so they're thinking it's not a giant downgrade as much of a slight decline lateral move for the very, very short term. It's a horrible deal for them for the long term, but their GM even came out and said, I don't care about the next 10 years. I'm trying to win a title in the next 3 to 4 years.
Which sometimes you got to do.
Macro sense, Dallas does have an opportunity to do something here. People are just so shocked that they would sell give away the farm, give away the future. It's definitely a downgrade. Anthony Davis is really, really, really good. Brady will tell you that all day. Anthony Davis is amazing. He's a champion.
He's Brady's favorite player.
Players coming out. I mean, yeah, he's amazing. And he's been more available lately, which is a huge thing in the NBA. Anthony Davis got knocked early in his career because he was hurt a lot. Luka doesn't play, like, he isn't available all the time. That's one of his things. But it's almost worth it because he's the best 25-year-old we've seen who hasn't won a title. Okay. All right. So, yeah, as a Dallas fan, I think I'd be hard-pressed to find the silver lining here, even though they're one. If they win this year, then it's a fair trade. I mean, it's going to be really interesting how Dallas does over the next 6 weeks or so, because they can position themselves into kind of that 3 or 4 seed in the NBA, and they can make noise in the playoffs. We saw them do it last year. The West is still kind of young. I mean, the Warriors and the Lakers are old, but the really good teams now in the West are young. So there's an opportunity there for Dallas. Basketball's fun like that, Ken. We're going to get you into basketball. Brady, we're doing this.
It's going to be hard. I was into winning time. Okay, Brady, final thoughts for you here. Then I got to actually start rolling up the show here, pulling down the curtains on the market cart today. Your final thought here as a Laker fan, what you feel about this, and how many titles do you think they're going to win?
I don't know how many titles the Lakers are going to win. That's always titles. Winning a title in the NBA is hard.
Brady, I'm going to stop you right there. This is Sports Talk Radio. I need you to be confident in the amount of titles you think the Lakers are going to win in the next 5 years.
Next 5 years?
Yeah.
I'm happy with just one. Oh, my God.
Look at this guy. Steve, he's too nice. He's too nice.
In the next 5 years, 2 titles. They're winning 2 titles, Ken. No doubt about it. LeBron's getting at least one of them. That's how you do it, Brady. Come on. You got to come out.
Okay. I just want to say one thing from the Mavs fans, because one of my friends, he's a Mavs fan.
Yeah.
And he said he's done with basketball.
Wow.
The reason why the Mavs fans are so upset by this is because the Mavs, their entire identity the past 30 years has been loyalty. They had a franchise guy named Dirk Nowitzki.
I remember
he stayed with the franchise for 21, 22 seasons.
Right.
Just one franchise, 22 years.
So, look.
And they positioned Luka as the next Dirk. He was the only guy who had a banner next to Dirk in their arena.
Yeah.
And so to just trade him in the middle of the season, when there was no rumors, he did not request a trade. And all of a sudden, to just trade him to trade him and then pull him fat on the way out.
Well, see, that's it. They're loyal until you eat too many Thin Mints, and then they're not loyal. And that's what they're saying here. But Brady, it looks like you've come out on the winning end. So I look forward to you celebrating the Lakers.
Luka.
Look at this. Steve is excited. Brady, Steve, thanks for calling in. 16 Seconds of Sports, which we spit off into about 16 minutes of sports, which I love. I love talking sports. Even though today's show was me kind of nodding to both basketball and Kendrick Lamar talk. I'm not familiar with both. And I love the passion you all have for it. So we'll have more of those conversations. All right. Thanks, Brady. Thanks, Steve.
Thank you so much, Ken.
Thank you for having us.
All right. We are almost out of here tonight. Final thing coming in here. Rich T says, I like this. Roger Goodell came out and said the NFL is better because of the diversity, despite Trump rolling back the DI stuff. That is huge, actually. That is actually huge. We are in an era where these corporations like Target, which is a place I've shopped at a very long time with much joy and glee and passion, has rolled back almost immediately DEI, excuse me, not DIY. That's another store and a do-it-yourself thing. DEI being rolled back by Target. and other corporations. I appreciate those that are standing up for it, not just in terms of policies. I think some companies go that way. Target is an example of being very, we have a Pride Month. We're going to celebrate this and Pride capitalism. And I think it's right to turn a cynical eye towards that stuff sometimes. It is just a sticker on a problem. And I think it showed when a company like Target goes, are the winds changing? We're going to roll back all that stuff. Diversity, equity, inclusion. We're going to roll it all back. And now there's a bill on the floor by Andy Biggs, Republican Andy Biggs, to repeal OSHA. This is maddening stuff. And at any step of the way, if you have someone in your life, who thinks all this stuff's a good idea, it's a good idea to turn back OSHA. Ask them why, and ask them what it brings to their life and what it truly makes better. Oh, my God. As Cameron Stewart says, we've now seen all these companies' true colors. Saul says, have we lived long enough on the timeline that we're ready for the Roger Goodell heel face turn? It's an excellent point, Saul. It's an excellent point. Oh, man, that's it. And Chris King says, well, very grateful and privileged to work at an independent school that still values and celebrates and prioritizes DEI. All right, these are scary times indeed, but we are out of here today. Thanks for hanging out with me. We will be back Friday. Hang with me. I apologize. We'll be live Friday, Super Bowl picks, a whole lot of good things there. But in the meantime, hey, if you want to consider being a Patreon member, I'd love for you to support me at patreon.com/Ken Napzok. And currently up on the channel is my headlining set from my last headlining show at Flappers, Hot Burbank Nights 2. Hope to lock in a Hot Burbank Night 3 soon. Also, check out cool things like this, entertainment news and opinions from my pal Brandon T. McClure at his blog, Bitching About Nothing. Check out Aaron Alexovich's Shock City graphic novel about two kids trying to survive in a city ruled by a fascist. And as I said before, we've got a big interview coming tomorrow, the Evangelical Trauma Factory and How to Leave It, or at least the story of someone who did leave it. Andy from Genders, Queers, and Buccaneers will be on the show. It's a great interview, and they share their important and powerful stories. So look for that tomorrow. Give it a like, give it a watch, and all those cool things. Until then, we'll see you next time, my friends. We'll see you next time here on the Blathering Live. Bye.